Hello everybody and welcome back on Eiersholt. We're just about to finish up the morning duties here. The last bits that really got to be done is to give these cows a little bit more mixed ration, not an awful lot. Maybe just top it off a little bit more than that. See how it goes. They are getting hungry. It's summer. Our insemination program is working quite well for them, so we've got quite a few cows that are now expecting calves around this place. But it is also into midsummer now, so I skipped early summer in terms of recording. What we're going to do is we are going to open up the windbreak here today, so that the screens here out on the cattle shed, as I showed you in a previous episode, has been opened up. That's just because if we take a quick look at the weather forecast here, so right now it's still relatively early, so we're only about 12 degrees, but we're going to get up to about 23 degrees during midday today, so it's going to get quite hot in here, particularly undercover in the stable, so we might as well try and get a little bit of air through. We'll do the same for the pigs. We can open up the sides on their stable as well before we get on with some additional work today. So I'm just gonna park this one up. Then we're gonna head down, get in our car, just sort out the pigs, and then we'll be heading out to take a look at the fields and see how the crops are doing. That's the cows done, and we'll just head over to the pigs and get them sorted as well. But as you can see, the seasons marker is indicating crops are a bit wet. We had a really good downpour last night, and it's been a little bit of thunder rumbling this morning. But apart from that, first part of summer has actually been really good. It's been nice mild weather, generally speaking. Now I just gotta check where the switch is. I think it's here. Let's see, is that right? Oh yes, I just pressed it one too many times. So here we are. We're opening up, so each side open up separately. I think we'll get both open today, just to make sure that it doesn't smell too bad in here and we don't start getting anything nasty lingering in here. We want a bit of airflow. Obviously we do have the ventilation going generally in the pig stable, but I reckon it's good to get a bit of fresh air in on a warm day like today. We'll still close the door here. Good. Back in the car. We're gonna head up and take a general look at our different fields. That serves two purposes. Just so you guys can see how the crop's doing, generally speaking, and we're also going to have to start thinking. It might sound early, but we're going to start thinking about what we're going to be putting into the different fields next. So we're going to be taking a look at the crop rotation planner for seasons, just to figure out what's going to give us a decent enough yield. So first of all, here we are. This is our wheat field. It is growing quite well. It is growing. It's looking healthy. There's not many signs of any weeds. Might be a few birds sitting munching around. Yeah, get out of here. Anyway, so the other thing we're going to look at is, as you can see down in our field information, we also have what has been happening in the previous two steps. So in this case, here in field 29, the field has been fallow the two previous years, and so now we put wheat or cereals down on the field. That means we can now use the crop planner to look at what gives us a good yield for the next year. So we're just going to hop into that one. So here's the crop planner, and obviously we've got 4 independent panels that we can use for rotation, but I'm just going to use the first one here, field 29. So first of all, we had a year of fallow, so I just need to cycle through to fallow. There we go. Maybe it's easier to go the other way. So 2 years of fallow, and then we have put wheat in this year. So currently our expected yield is 1.2 times the normal yield. Now obviously next year some of the benefits of the field line fallow is going to fade away, so we could think about putting cereal in again. So if we decided to simply put wheat in again, you see our yield drop down to 0.95, same for barley, for the other cereals basically. We're not going to be planting cotton, that's not going to happen. But we could put canola into it, or sunflowers, or corn. Corn would give us a single yield. And I'm quite tempted to think about corn, because we probably want to ramp up our animal feed, both in terms of feeding pigs and stuff, so it might be good to swap this field around to corn. Good, so that's field 29, it's looking good. We can take a quick look at the map as well, just to check a little bit more extended for weeds. So here's field 29, and it's actually looking nice and clean. We do have an issue with field 53 on the other hand, down to the south of it. As you can see, there's a lot more pink patches indicating weeds. Field 30 and 31 also looking nice and clean, and if I take ploughing and lime off the grass field, we can see that that's decently fertilized after we gave it slurry in the last episode. Another job for today is to get field 31 fertilized again. So we're just gonna hop over to field 30 to find out what its history was, so we can work out what we might be putting in as well for the coming year, because some of these might be going in as winter crops. Now obviously if we're putting corn down on field 29, that means that field is going to be sitting over winter. I don't think it needs ploughing or lime or anything like that, so we're probably just going to harvest it, get the bales off, and then we can essentially leave it like that over winter. So try not to run down any of our crops, but we'll head over on the other side of the farm and take a quick look. We can head out this way. Cows are doing well. They seem to be thriving here on Eiersholt now, which is nice. So this is our field 30 in here on the left. That's our barley field. If we just pull in, preferably without running anybody over, have a look. It's also looking nice. So again, we have fallow, fallow, and then barley. So let's use the next planner to look at that. So here we are on the second rotation planner, corresponding to the current field, we're in field 30. So it was fallow for 2 years as well, and we now got barley on it, so we have an expected high yield. And we're going to work out what we're going to put on this one next year. So I guess we could consider putting the canola on that one and keep a pretty high yield actually. And field 30 looked fine for weeds as well. So we're just trying to build up a plan really of what's going to happen. One question is about the grass. It seems to be yielding fine, although technically speaking, when we go into the map overlays, it does tell us that it needs both to be plowed up and have lime applied to it. So yeah, I don't know about that. But let's head up the hill here, because we are going to have a look at our cornfield, which has now started growing, and I think it's looking okay. They're looking a bit pale, some of them, I think, but I mean, they're growing. They need a shot of fertilizer. That's one of the things. We kept some fertilizer in our sprayer for that very purpose. So here we are on the third rotation planner, 2 years of fallow and this year of corn. So again, we should be expecting a pretty good yield. Now this one we really do have to try and put around to to a cereal, even if it means, so we're down to 0.95 instead. Soybeans, potatoes and sugar beets would even give us, well no, only sugar beets would give us a, unless we put, now we could put oilseed radish down, and then, well, does that mean leaving it for the whole year? That I'm not too sure about. Anyway, we are going to take a break from field playing. I know there's a couple of extra fields that we've got to look at, but I can do that in my own time as well. Some of you may have noticed that our bank balance have gone up quite a bit over the summer here. So in the last episode we were down to close to 175,000 euros, and suddenly we are now up to 338. I have not been cheating. What we have been doing over the 3 days of early summer is, as you can see up here in the forest, is that we've been doing some logging. In fact, we've been doing so much logging, we've been leaving stuff behind, I can see. That wasn't really supposed to be there, but yeah. So all the way along the edge here, we've been clearing out a bit of the forest. There's still lots and lots and lots left, but we've been getting really good prices. We have been going with really simple equipment. I'm just going to stop the car. So we've just been using our Massey Ferguson tractor front loader with a weight on the back, and a log grabber. We've been using a manual chainsaw to cut down trees around here. There's quite a bit cut down at the bottom of the field here as well. You can see it's quite open down there. That's a bit easier to work on the flat there. And then we simply cut the logs typically into 2 pieces, which means they are sticking out quite a lot on this quite simple log trailer that we bought. We got it for about 18,000 euros. So that's been doing a good job. And in fact, there's a load here. So before the rain really came on last night, we were loading up some logs. So we might as well take these down to the sawmill. They'll be open again now. It's a bit late when we finished, so I'm going to take this T7 down to the sawmill and get these logs sold off, and then we're probably not going to do much more logging right now during summer. We might be coming back to it during the winter. That obviously depends a bit on how hard the winter ends up being around here, but for now we just gotta make sure we don't collide with any traffic, put some hazards on, and we got a bit of a drive down to the sawmill, so I'll probably see you down there. So we just pulled off the main road down towards the sawmill, but once again I'm just going to pull over. I just got to quickly ask about something in here in the builder's mag. I think they are open by now. Yeah, they open at 8 till 10 o'clock. That's perfect. So I just need to ask them because I'm thinking about getting some extra lights for the farm. Occasionally there are areas that can get a bit dark, and I know that they do have some floodlights, and I'm wondering if they have anything we might be able to put onto our truck. So I'll just check that with them. Excellent. So it turns out they do have something. It's not something that they hold in stock, but they can order it in. So I put down an order for one of these towed floodlight trailers. That will come in quite handy, especially if during harvest time we do end up having to work through the night, for example. It'll be good to be able to set some light up for either unloading grain or working with bales, anything like that. But we have arrived at the sawmill, and sort of following a slightly narrow passage around here, Here is the belt where they take whole logs. They take wood chip over on the other side, but I now have the task of trying to reverse this thing in so we can get the logs over onto the transport section. And I'm not very good at reversing with this type of trailer, but we'll see how it goes. I think we might be just about close enough now, so let's see. We'll need to take the straps off and then we'll get them to check up. There we go. 24,972, nearly 25,000. I should mention that I have economic settings on the easy setting, and that's mainly so that we can actually make some progress in this series. I still play with 9-day seasons, so it'll be nice to see some financial progress on a year-by-year basis. But yeah, so that takes us up to 363,000 euros. That's nice. That's helped a little bit on the bank balance. We are going to be spending a little bit of money today. Because it's so warm now, here in summer, the chicken eggs, I'm getting a little bit worried. We're just leaving boxes lying around now. Normally don't really have to keep them super cold or anything like that, but rather than having the boxes sort of flying around right out next to the house, I think it would be good to have a shaded and slightly chilled facility that we can put them into. So there's a company that's going to come and install a little chilling shed for our eggs. It just means we can hold them in there for a little bit longer before we sell them. We typically sell down to the campsite. They have a little farm shop where the people who are staying at the campsite can buy local produce, and that's fine with us, but there's no point in driving down every single time we have, a dozen eggs or anything like that. They like to buy it in slightly larger quantities instead. So I think it'll make sense, and we have roosters and we are getting chicks, so the number of chickens will grow, and as a consequence I assume so will our egg production at some point. We're going to head straight back up to the farm with this log trailer. We're going to find somewhere to park it up as well, and then we're going to get on with the spraying. And in the meantime, the guys that are installing this little shed should be on site as well. That's the T7 parked up again, so we can get into the sprayer. I should probably mention I have installed one other mod that we can't really see. It's the increased fuel consumption from Realismus modding. Although Seasons did seem to help a little bit on the whole fuel consumption repair balance, I still felt that we weren't using very much fuel compared to how much we were wearing down the vehicles. So I think the 200 to 300% fuel consumption will seem a bit more realistic. I may regret it, of course. It might end up costing us an absolute fortune in fuel, but we'll see how we get on with it. For now, it's time to get back into the New Holland sprayer and get our cornfield fertilized through to the final stage. Once we have that stage done, that's all of our fields fully fertilized. So we're here, and although it's a slightly awkward shape for this field in many ways, it's kind of triangular, so running a GPS track is never entirely straightforward, but I think we're just gonna start heading straight down and kind of keep it in lines like that, as long as I don't hit any of the trees here at least. I might have to raise the boom just a little bit, because corn plants are obviously that little bit bigger. And we'll just set our starting point for the GPS here, get the sprayer on, and start moving off. And now we should be able to look forward here. See if I can see the GPS lines. Yeah, they're all good. So we are fine. We are running on GPS. Straight steering down the line here. So this should be a relatively quick and easy job to do now. So we're just finishing off the last corner of the field here, and that is all of our fertilizing done. And we still got a decent amount left in the tank here. I'm just clearing off the edges. There's a little patch left somewhere right around here. But yeah, we've got a couple of 1,000 liters left in the tank still. So we'll probably just get those transferred out into an IBC, and we can store them till next time we need to do any fertilizing. Just switch the GPS lines off and get the booms folded up. We'll head down to the farm. Apparently the guys with the shed have been and have installed this little cooler shed. It's a really simple thing that they just need to hook it up to a power supply really, and it more or less gets lifted off the back of a truck, and then it's installed. But we'll head back and see what it looks like. Okay, so I think we're gonna take this down and give it a quick wash, and that'll give us a chance to check on this new shed, because I hope it isn't gonna be blocking the way down here too much. But here it is. Let's have a quick look. Actually, this is not too bad. We're taking it out for herbicide. Probably doesn't need a wash, but anyway, here we are. Nice. Got a little cooling fan here, and plenty of space to store eggs. So actually, let's just have a quick look here. This one isn't terribly full, but I think if I'm right, we just set it there. I just need to use the help menu here, probably figure out exactly how I do this. So it looks like the key bindings isn't quite right for my controller right now. So maybe I need to take it in here instead, maybe. There we go. So now it's sitting there. Fantastic. That's good. And obviously, if you do use, like me, use an Xbox controller for Farm Sim, you might have to be prepared that you have to remap, but that's cool. Now the fan's running, now that we've got eggs in it. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. And although it has narrowed the driveway a little bit, I don't think it's going to be an issue in this case, but we'll climb back up to the sprayer, because we've got to unload instead. Actually, we don't need to wash this right now, but what we do need to do is we need to unload fertilizer and take on board some herbicide instead. So just gonna head over here where the tanks are anyway, and we'll unload into an IBC, and then we will get I don't know how much, a couple of 1,000 liters of herbicides on board. We're not going to fill the tank, that's for sure. So because we're just over 2,000 liters, we'll have one pallet. Yeah, this one's only got 198 liters in it, which isn't a lot. I guess we could just stick them in here. To be honest, I'm going to put them over in the other shed, where we keep the trailer and stuff like that, because if anything, we might end up putting them onto our flatbed trailer or something like that. We got a couple of seed bags and things sitting over in this shed anyway, so this is kind of our loose bits and pieces shed anyway. So this time we're not just gonna let the herbicide run and fill the tank, because it's going to be too much, and it's quite expensive to buy herbicide. So we're about 2,500 liters. We'll stop here. So yeah, that's about €1 a liter pretty much. So you don't want to go filling the tank if we're only going to spray that one field. But we are going to put some herbicide on that oat field, and with the kind of reach we got here, it shouldn't take too long. And this field is obviously a fair bit larger than the previous one, and because herbicide is generally quite difficult to see where you have applied, I will be using the GPS unit for this one as well. Excellent. We have a track across the field, so now it's just a matter of getting it covered and see if we can get rid of these weeds. So while we're putting down some herbicide on this field, I think we're going to call an end to today's episode. It's not going to be much exciting watching me doing this entire field, but nevertheless I will get it done off screen, and there's a good chance that in the next episode we'll be nearing the end of summer. It might even be coming up to harvest time. Right now we're really just tending the animals and waiting for crops to grow, but I hope you've enjoyed having a little look at how we've been getting on with some logging, a new shed, and a little bit of maintenance here on the farm. But for now, it's thank you very much for watching from Overcord Gaming, and see you again soon.